The journey is conversations with ordinary people about stories of transformation and how we may have had setbacks in our life and how we persevered through those, how we've learned from those obstacles, and how they've maybe helped us on our path today.
Well, welcome to the journey. My name's Kevin Polkey, and I am the host of the journey. And today we have one returning guest as well as a new guest, but they have been together now for a little bit and are the owners and operators of Rockford Barbell. And so, Nick Votava and Elliot Ganet, thank you for being here today. And I know that this is May and Mental Health Awareness Month, and that is one of the main reasons why I wanted to have you guys on today. But before we jump into how Rockford Barbell ties into developing mental health, specifically in our youth, Nick, why don't you start us off with what when you have an opportunity to have fun, what do you do for fun, Nick?
Awesome. Thanks for having us, Kevin. For me, anything outdoors. I enjoy being outside with my wife and my dog, hiking, camping, riding my bike, just anything I can do to be outside.
Awesome. Awesome. And Nick, when you and I know we talked about this before, but of all the places that kind of stand out, what's one of those places that stand out that's like I need to go back there more than once. What's a standout place?
I always go back to Lake Superior, so anywhere around the Great Lakes. We like Marquette. Any kind of town along the big lake is great for me.
Awesome. Awesome. So Elliot, yeah, tell what do you have? I mean, your life's a little bit different than Nick. Your life's a little bit fuller in because you have little ones, right? And so yeah, Elliot, what do you do for fun?
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. I like to very careful about what words to choose. Yeah, different's a good word. Uh, what I like to do for fun, I like to spend time with my kids and my family. I got three kids at home, under five. My wife. So spending time with them, and seeing them do fun things, and similar to Nick, being out, we like to be outside, and be active, running around, riding bikes, or watching them do their shenanigans as little kids. That's how I spend my time mainly.
Sure. Awesome. So, why don't we tell the audience just a little bit about your guys' self, your background, educationally, professionally, your background, and then how you guys got interested in with this idea of how's lifting weights and training and specifically Olympic lifting. How has that all been, part of your own life experience and now what you're bringing to the greater Rockford area? So why don't we start off with just educational and professionally, what's your backgrounds? And Nick, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Sure. So for me, I graduated from University of Iowa. I studied psychology and art, and then professionally went into social work kind of right after that. So I'm from Rockford. Yeah, went away for college, and then I came right back. Worked last, I don't know, 10, 12 years as a social worker, doing, yeah, various roles around the area, school social work, not-for-profit type work, counseling and those sorts of things. And then, yeah, in 2019, Elliot and I founded Rockford Barbell. So I became a licensed clinical social worker a couple years ago or a year ago. And yeah, been doing that kind of for the last 5 years.
And Elliot, how about you?
Yeah, my Nick and I are the same age, so our paths kind of were going at the same time. Where my background is education. I studied teaching at Illinois State University, special education, specifically people who are blind and visually impaired. I did that for, yeah, same thing, 10, 11 years, and just had this parallel kind of path going with coaching, coaching youth sports, some middle school football, some high school baseball, coaching in the fitness world, as well. And then got to a place, with education where seeing the need for additional supports outside of the school day, for social, for emotional support. And our schools do a great job. They do the best they can, but sometimes, yeah, the need just goes a step further. And Nick and I, um, again, both of our backgrounds of it was sport, but as we develop like our organization now, we see it as just more than far more than just sport, and how it's tied into movement, and also tied into some meaningful relationships. So we started Rockford Barbell. Like Olympic weightlifting was our kind of bread and butter. Those movements are just kind of like a passion for that ourselves. But again, we see it now as a way to really help kids be mindful with their bodies. The type of movements like Olympic weightlifting are full body movements that you have to be in control of your full body. You have to understand the sensations you're feeling. You have to be aware of what your body's doing, yeah, what your body's feeling to be able to perform them. So we feel that, yeah, it aligns really well to improving social emotional skills, to helping kids practice it, really hands-on practice it themselves as well as with other people. Um, so we had these backgrounds of, yeah, social work, of education, and then tying in, how we used movement and how we thought it'd be developmentally appropriate and also engaging for kids.
Well, I think, Olympic lifting, as you guys both know, I've lifted weights my entire life and been a strength coach and personal trainer back a long time ago. But I think, the Olympic lifting itself um, is not a natural movement. It's not something it's something that has to be taught and has to be learned how to do. And like you said, Elliot, I think there is if not concentrating, not being mindful about what's happening, it can be done incorrectly. And then I really love the idea of using Olympic lifting from a standpoint of movement and body awareness, because I can't imagine that you've ever had a student come in and, like, some obviously are maybe more gravitated toward a little bit easier than others, and others are a little bit farther behind with it. But for them to accomplish the movements and start moving toward mastery, that's an accomplishment. And it's them persevering through something hard and difficult in itself is I think super beneficial from a standpoint of resilience, mindset, emotionally, team building. Yeah, I like it on multiple levels. So
Yeah.
so how yeah.
Just say one
Sure.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're saying, Kevin. So people come in, and no, none of these kids have done this before. So it really levels the playing field. They come in, everyone's fairly new to this type of movement. But like I was saying, it's full body. What we focus on is the regulation aspect of this. So, moving our whole body's movement, these repetitive rhythmic movements that you can find in a sport like weightlifting, is just really good for that regulation piece of our emotions, of our thinking, of our bodies, our behavior.
Absolutely. So yeah, why don't we kind of just step back? You said, Elliot, you said 2019 is when Barbell originated. And yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about the backstory, how you guys came up with this idea, and where's it gone since then?
Yeah, I mean it started yeah, it's grassroots organization. Nick and I knew each other just personally through our fitness. And we needed a place to kind of do some stuff on our own. So it was finding a random spot here in the city of Rockford with a handful of other adults, a few of our friends who were all kind of did this together, and then very quickly, wanted to get this in the hands of kids. So it was 5, 6 kids that I knew through coaching, primarily, that we got in here kind of right away. And it was focused on movement. It was focused on, developing kids, but without really the kind of guidelines and like deep understanding of principles and how movement can be beneficial for kids' mental health. That has come over time. So over the years, pretty much, yeah, every year as we do writing, write grants, as we do talks like this, this gets developed of continuing to, like, I think of like synapses firing, in the brain, like, these connections are being made of how it's going to be beneficial for kids, how it's going to be beneficial for their bodies, how it's going to be beneficial for their regulation, how it's going to be beneficial for their relationships. Um, and now, 2 years ago, of getting funding from the Winnebago County Mental Health Tax to hire us on as full-time staff, we're deep in this service that we give kids. So we do formal instruction, so like games, activities, reflections, um, a more kind of standard of what you might see, like, let's say, in a classroom, and then pairing that with the movement. So it has, yeah, come a long ways. We're now what started at 5, 6 kids, is now 40, 50 kids a night, 70, 80 kids every 6 weeks, for our programs.
That's a huge jump, and really not that long. We're talking 6 years, and oh yeah, that little pandemic thing that may have caught a little bit of a interruption as well. But like you said, in the last 2 years, really with the Winnebago County mental health tax and the board being able to allocate some fundage, that really has allowed it to be even. I imagine that was a huge opportunity for growth at that point, being able to be full time.
Yeah, it has been. And really, yeah, we started this like right before the pandemic. Nick and I have talked, like, there is this aspect of timing and luck that, plays into a lot of things. And it certainly played into like our path for Rockford Barbell, because, through everything that the pandemic did on a negative side, we feel it definitely shined a light on the need for mental health, and the need for mental health for kids. There were a lot of things that kids could not do. Youth sports was paused or canceled for a lot of kids, and the need for opportunities, for kids to move their bodies but also connect with other people, was highlighted, for a period of time. And a program like ours, where it kind of did, not kind of did, it does a little bit of both, has been huge for us, and communities, buying into that concept, was perfect timing for where we were professionally, and kind of where we were going.
Well, Nick, I know you and I have talked about the idea of the as the Surgeon General had mentioned 2 years ago about the mental health crisis that our youth are in, and some of his directing toward people, youth living in a digital world, and the use of smartphones, the interface of tablets, and the phone, the camera that can front face now. All those things have led to um, uh, not going outside like you guys have talked about, and in social environments, it's more of a virtual world for a lot of youth. Yeah, tell us a little bit, Nick, from your standpoint, what have you seen? Because I know you do a little bit different than Elliot. You provide more the direct counseling for families as well as the students. What have you seen regarding that aspect of uh, how the virtual world for some youth have really s- impaired their ability to socialize?
Sure. So, I mean, yeah, obviously technology, we would like it to bring us closer together, but for a lot of us, over reliance on it, not makes kind of connection in real person or real life, even more difficult sometimes. I feel like COVID, shined a light on this. We all had to go virtual, but kids just integrating back and feeling comfortable connecting with other people, adults or kids, can be difficult. I know socializing for all of us can be hard at times, but with kids especially, like giving them a space where they can work together and work in groups, is partially what we try to do. So we work with kids ages 10 to 18. So we see a wide range of different kids at different ages, different effects, that both COVID and technology have kind of had on them. But yeah, just a lack of understanding of each other. We see a lot. I think a lot of just willingness. We have a lot of kids who come in who would like to work by themselves, but we're here to work on relationships. So we always have kids working together and working in groups. It's a big part of what we want. So yeah, and then additionally, so kids, they can participate in our programs, but then if they do need follow-up services, I'm able to provide that as well. So we can have more, one-on-one conversations or conversations with parents regarding, specific sort of barriers that they're facing and what we can do to kind of overcome that stuff too.
So, well, let me while we're talking about the phone and the virtual aspect of things, do you guys what do you guys do with that? I know that it's been a long time since I've been to a gym since the pandemic. I've been working out at home just out of convenience and it. Initially, it was necessity. Now is more. Now I only have 13 steps that hold me back from working out instead of 15-minute drive, type of thing. But I do remember not too long ago when I was at a gym down in Florida that there was it appeared to be a lot of people in between sets looking at their phone or doing something. What do you guys set up as far as some structure to help manage that?
Yeah, so I know gyms, they don't seem like very friendly places these days, it seems like. I mean, it's been a while since I've been in, conventional gym, but I do see a lot of phone use, a lot of headphones in and not people not, communicating with one another. Our gym is different. We play music over speakers. There's no headphones. We ask kids just to not wear headphones while they're lifting. We want to be in the moment with each other, and also no phones. So we have a parent orientation beforehand where we kind of go over that stuff with parents and just let kids know that we want to be in the moment while we're here, and we want to have conversations. We want to be able to talk and listen to one another. So in our space, yeah, we don't have that stuff.
Awesome. What and it's interesting to me. I've gotten a lot of feedback from students and young adults, and you know uh, you know some schools now locally are getting ready to implement the possibility of having no phones available at school, or they have to be put in have to be have they have these certain um, certain types of bags or containers that the phones go into, so they're not going to be used during class time periods or in the hallways and things like that. And initially it seems to be a pushback, but the feedback when talking to the youth, they're actually looking forward to it, and it's the parents that seem to be more pushing back against it than actually the kids. The kids are, well, when you're talking to them one-on-one or in small groups, they're actually, the majority of them are saying that they think it would be a good thing. So I imagine there's a little bit of pushback, but then this is all new for most of the kids unless they're returning, and so they're everything's a little bit out of their comfort zone. So these expectations in the why about wanting to be present, wanting to be able to connect and develop relationships and have a collective experience, um, they may not be familiar with it, but it very much they can appreciate it maybe after they've done that.
Yeah, I think our program is just engaging in a different way too, where kids are working and they're resting for a short amount of time and then they're working again. And I guess they could pull out a phone and do some of that a little bit, but they're engaged with one another and they're getting up and doing another set. So I think it's different in a classroom where there's a little bit more time to kind of sit there with a phone. But in our space, you're kind of up, you're moving, you're helping your partner, you're writing something down in a notebook. So yeah, I just feel like just the way we kind of set it up, it's less of a battle.
Yeah, I think that setting up that structure and the expectation and then the invitation and then and removing the distraction then reduces that opportunity to not be engaged. So I think that's well done and well thought out. Um so let me ask you guys, and this will be for both of you and whoever wants to go first, feel free. When you think about the last, since 19, and how Rockford Barbell has evolved, and not mentioning any names or anything, but when you think of like someone's, the progress that someone had made as a youth, or just the programming itself. Yeah, if you could just maybe share a little bit for us, what have you observed in the last 6 years?
Yeah, I can start. A couple things come to mind, especially as we talk about like the digital world and being disconnected from people. The stories, and I can think of a handful of kids, a dozen kids off the top of my head, who over the years of being within our program, find connection here, using this model, connection with trusted adults, and also connection with other kids when the way that they were going and their habits was making it tough for that, tough to find connection with other people. So as we're here, in the month of May of mental health, having trusted adults that we can go to, and also having peers and having positive, healthy relationships are so important for our mental health. So being able to be a place for that for kids where they can get that is great. It's great for us. It's great for the kids. It's really fun. It's really rewarding that we can provide this service for our kids here through our programs.
Yeah. I think of a couple kids who, have started our program. Maybe they were still doing some virtual school or homeschooled completely, and have wanted to take that step after doing our program to going back to school. Or I know some kids that have never done a sport or never done another activity kind of outside our program. They did our program, kind of felt comfortable with that community and that activity that they were being asked to do, and then they joined something at their school. So they're able to extend what they've kind of learned here into other communities, outside here, which I think is great.
I think that those ideas of what the program can do and what you've seen the program do for students, I think is just an awesome thing. And speaking to that, now it sounds like that this program is not designed for someone who's coming in to improve, like to, I know there's a lot of programming in the greater Rockford area to help someone who may be prospecting to develop so they can uh, go to the next level as far as in their sport of choice, preparing for college. It sounds like that isn't necessarily what Rockford Barbell is. Yeah, so maybe tell us a little bit of the difference between the population that you're really trying to target, and maybe, and not that you would probably be opposed to that, but it's just so that people aren't misunderstanding.
Yeah, it's definitely not for those situations like you're talking about. It is not designed for sport development, sport performance. At all. I mean, the population that we're looking to serve is broad. Is this age group of 10 to 18? And a number of our kids, we do see deficits in social emotional skills, but it also is for everyone. These ideas, social emotional skills, social emotional learning. We use these five castle competencies, and they can be applied to anyone. I mean, one of them is self-awareness. We can all work to be more self-aware. Relationship skills. Our relationship skills, in different situations, in different times of life, require different things. So working on relationship skills is something that we can always be doing. So I say this again, go back to we serve all these kids, all range of needs and skills. And that is our goal, is to improve those things. So those are the things that we get up front, kind of baseline information from parents of how things are going. We use that information to structure our lessons from day to day, from week to week, of what are these kids struggling with in our space, what are these kids struggling with outside of our space, what skills do we need to teach them, what vocabulary might we need to focus on. And then that's what the outcomes that we track are, those social emotional skills, as opposed to tracking, performance or movement. The movement component, even on a programming basis, is not individualized, where we're looking at specific movement strengths and weaknesses. We have this broad approach of using mindful movement, of using full body movements, but these are things that we're doing as a whole. Because again, our goal is different. It's not an individual sport performance, sport development program. These are to improve social emotional skills.
Anything to add to that, Nick?
Yeah, just like I was saying, I know my personal journey, movement has always been a part of how I maintain mental health. And just the feeling it gives you afterwards, the community that it can provide, that's really what we want to share with kids of, we use this, your thinking can be more clear, you can make better decisions. Like Elliot said, we're using this movement, this repetitive rhythmic movement to work on a regulation, really just to so that we can connect better with other people. We like weightlifting, we like yoga because they can be done individually, but then they can be done within the context of community. So you're working on yourself, but also connecting with other people at the same time. I think a lot of the sports I grew up doing, wrestling and track, the similar sort of stuff. We're moving. This is kind of an individual sport. But we're with other people, and that's something that I think like we're mindful of in the development of this is how can we kind of layer these things and get the best social emotional development, best mental health outcomes, using something that's engaging for kids like movement.
And you were just talking about the 5 pillars. If you could just mention what are those 5 pillars and what are some of the things that you've seen and how that has evolved over the last 6 years.
Yeah, so the five castle competencies of self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, responsible decision making, and relationship skills. And yeah, those are again the castle competencies, the collaborative for academic, social, and emotional learning. And it's evolved for us in how we've tracked our progress of our kids. There's other ways to track mental health and social emotional skills. That's what we've hung our hat on as of as of recently in our short development, and that's what we're targeting our instruction. And those are the vocabulary words we talk about with our kids of this is why we're here, this is what it looks like, this is how it looks in our space, this is how it may look outside our space, and this is how it may help us in life.
Yeah, we plan a lot lessons around those things, and just so that we have a common vocabulary with our parents and with our kids of using this language and saying, this lesson we are targeting this. We have a number of routines built around some of these things. So part of self-management and self-awareness, right? Self-awareness is kind of checking in with yourself. So we have a routine where kids come in and they kind of give themselves a rating on their sleep, on their nutrition, just so that we know that these things can affect us and how we're feeling, how we might connect with one another that day. So kids are kind of building that each day of reflecting and building that, because yeah, it will impact how we manage ourselves that day or how we connect with others.
Well, as you were just talking about those 5 pillars, it very much reminded me of Daniel Goleman's work with emotional intelligence, EQ, and social intelligence, and so I have, I have a deep appreciation for not only the passion that you guys have for what you're doing, but then also the 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 research-based foundational, as they would say, empirical evidence that you guys have utilized to actually develop the programming. That it's not just, I think this feels right. So it does feel right because research shows that it works. So awesome. Now you also mentioned that it's not just lifting weights, not just Olympic movements, but you also have yoga. Tell us a little bit about the yoga program and how often do you have programming for the weightlifting and how often do you have programming for the yoga?
Sure. So our weightlifting program is 3 days a week. We run Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and our yoga program is a 2-day a week program. Originally, it was a 1 day a week program. It was just on Tuesdays, but we've recently been able to expand it to 2 days. so Tuesdays and Thursdays. And yoga is great. So we run our yoga program at a number of locations. So right now we're doing a location at Anderson Japanese Gardens, but we've done it at Nicholas Conservatory, and also at Real Beautiful You Yoga Studio. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. We go through a class arc each time we run through our program. So a lot of like breath work at the beginning. We do actual yoga poses, so that's like our mindful movement component where kids are doing that with one another. Um, we always have a focus or a theme for each class. So we may focus on gratitude or may focus on awareness, something to just kind of like tie everything together. There's always a part in class we call community connection. That's where kids are doing poses together. So we might do tree pose individually, and then we might do it with a partner or do it as like a whole group, as a part to just kind of connect with one another and build those relationships. There's always a part where we're doing some sort of expression. So we do some writing or some drawing, some sort of craft, something where they can kind of reflect on that theme and bring that theme out in some sort of expressive way. And then we always do some relaxation. So there's always a relaxing component. But we go through this kind of predictable arc each day just as part of our trauma-informed practices, just so that kids kind of know where we start and where we go each class. So keep a part of our mission is to maintain regulation and help our kids feel safe. So that arc kind of helps us do that.
And I know that you have expanded. Not only do you have a new location, and it sounds like it's just an awesome opportunity to go to the new place that you guys relocated in I believe it was November, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, but you also started a new program just recently, along with what you're already doing. You've taken Rockford Barbell on the road. So yeah, tell us a little bit about that aspect.
Yeah, we've been able to expand our mobile unit and our mobile services. So this is, what it looks like is a trailer, but it's a full has all of our equipment. So this mission of using movement and our programs of weightlifting and yoga, we're able to go to locations to do these things on site. So we have a couple contracts right now with schools where we go in. Right now, we have one where we're in during a recess, another is during an intervention time, and able to apply these principles and apply this type of program of regulation using movement to help kids get the same benefit without having to take time out of their after school or without having to get to our facility. We can come to them.
Awesome. And I imagine that there is some challenges and some learning opportunities along the way with that, because it's a new component to what you guys are doing. But I imagine that the results that the kids get and the adults get will be there as well. So when you guys think about future for Rockford Barbell, anything are you guys dreaming about that in 5 years from now or a year from now, what are you guys hoping to be able to do?
I know for me, just keep doing what we're doing. We love doing what we do, serving kids, serving families. We want to be a support to our community. So, the mobile unit allows us to support teachers and schools more effectively. We want to keep doing that. We want to keep serving our families and children after school. So yeah, just kind of keep, the more we can reach and the better we can impact people. We're all for that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can also add, as Nick said, serving our kids and our families. We'd love to get to a place where we can serve our parents at the same time and have programming for parents in addition to their kids. We do the best we can with our kids, and we'll continue to do that. But finding a way to have this whole approach of helping whole families, we think could increase our impact in addition to what we're doing. So. we are a nonprofit organization, so anyone can go to rockfordbarbell.org to support that mission, and to support our work, but looking to continue what we're doing here in Rockford.
And so rockfordbarbell.org, that would be if someone was interested, a listener was interested in getting a family member or a friend involved and learning more about it, that would be the best place to contact you guys.
Yes, 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 and yes. Yeah, there's rockfordbarbell.org. We have all phone numbers, email addresses on there as well. Give us a call, shoot us an email, stop us on the street, whatever you need to do to get things going for your kid, your nephew, whoever it may be.
Awesome. And any last parting words that you would want someone listening to know about either mental health or Rockford Barbell or you guys' mission?
Ooh, yeah. Any last words? Just I appreciate our community's commitment to mental health. I think the mental health tax has just been a huge benefit for programs like ours, and just shedding awareness that mental health is important within our community. I think it shows our kids that mental health is important, and I think that we're at a place where we're starting to work on these things a bit more. So I'm proud that we have this tax. Proud to be here and be able to serve, the community that I grew up in. And I think we're going in a good direction as far as those services are concerned.
I would agree, Nick. We are, and the mental health tax has been amazing for Rockford Barbell, but also, I mean, 45, I think, other funded programs here in the city. So a huge help. What I would say to someone as a listener as well, is our programs are weightlifting and yoga, but our mission is movement. So I would encourage someone not to write off some our message because they think yoga is not for them, or they don't like to do it, or lifting weights isn't, they don't enjoy doing it. There are many ways that you can apply these principles of movement and community for your own mental health, and it can be individual for it is individual. So find that, whatever that is, of moving your bodies to connect with other people in a way that works for you.
Well, guys, I really appreciate getting to know you guys over the last few years and your commitment and your passion and your mission of how you want to take something that you guys have benefited individually and be able to teach and coach other individuals so they can have the same benefit. So I definitely appreciate everything you guys do. As As always, if for some reason you are interested in getting a hold of Nick and Elliot, definitely reach out to rockfordbarbell.org and share this message because that's, as you guys all know, that's part of Four Corners and Wellness Center about physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual development. And Rockford Barbell is very much following that same mindset of how do we develop all four areas of our life. As always, I appreciate you being here, and I look forward to being with you next week.